Welcome to Lesson 3, Control Statements. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the three different variations of the if statement: if for single selection, if-else for double selection, meaning that we choose two different paths based on whether the condition is true or false, and if, elif, else for choosing amongst many different paths of execution. We're also going to take a look at the augmented assignment statements using operators like plus equals and minus equals to shorten some of the assignment expressions that we saw in the preceding lesson. We'll introduce iteration statements for the first time in this lesson, and in particular we'll take a look at the for iteration statement, which is a little different than it is in some of the other C-based programming languages. In many of those languages we have a counter-controlled capability with the for statement. The for statement in Python is only for the purpose of touching every element in a sequence of elements, and for that reason we'll commonly use the for statement in conjunction with the built-in function called range, which is capable of generating a range of integer values. So for example, if you want to iterate over the values from 1 through 10, you can call the range function, have it produce the sequence of values 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up through 10, and then the for statement will simply process each of those values. We'll also take a look at Sentinel controlled iteration with the while iteration statement. So as in most other programming languages, the while statement uses a condition to determine whether or not to execute the statements in its body, which again we call a suite here in the context of Python, and so we'll take a look at how to use that for Sentinel controlled iteration. We'll also introduce the Boolean operators and, or, and not. These are used to form compound conditions in Python, so unlike many of the other C-based languages, we use the words and, or, and not as opposed to symbols for Boolean operations like this. We'll take a look at the break and continue statements and how they affect a looping structure in terms of when it finishes executing. You can use the break statement in a for or a while to immediately terminate the loop, and we'll also take a look at the continue statement to skip the rest of the suite and move on to the next iteration of a loop. And then finally we'll take a look at a couple of additional functional style programming capabilities.